Neck-throughs, guitars, they're like a guy that won't have a beer with you.
I want to hear what's pushing the notes.
Freddie King and B.B. King, Albert King, and let's not forget Burger King.
I don't want to blow my knuckle out.
Stainless steel is the work of the devil.
These go to 11.
From the East Amplification Tone Labs in Baltimore, Maryland, it's the Amps and Axes Show. With your hosts, Jeff the Godfather of Low Wattage Amps Bober and Mick Marcelino.
Well, good day to you, Mr. Bober.
Good day to you, Mr. Marcelino.
That was interesting.
It's been a fun day. It's been a fun day.
It is.
And it ain't over yet.
It ain't over. It ain't even near over. You kidding me? This is always great.
Well, hey, let's thank the listeners.
We have to.
That's right. We do.
You guys are just hitting home runs, man, and we appreciate it because you're it. You're our advertising.
That's right.
You got to tell people. If you don't tell people, this dries up, we go away, and well, I would hate that.
And I think the listeners would hate it more.
Yeah.
Maybe not as much.
Yeah.
But, we'd all be hating life, and life's too short to hate.
Exactly. Yes, it is.
So let's spread the love.
And we have stuff coming up in the new year.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. And we're not going to, I'm just going to tease it like that.
Oh, there you go.
Because you're looking at me like, what the hell are you talking about? But no, we do. And
Mick, I'm always the last to know. Always the last to know.
But anyway.
I'm just going to go hashtag clueless.
So anyway, go to www. I said it. Why the hell am I saying that? Go to ampsandaxescast.com.
Right, that's the one.
I'm going to start all over again. And
hello.
And then make sure that you click on all the social media.
Right.
I think I got to put a new one up there for the East amplification thing because East Amps now has their Instagram page.
Yes, we do.
Yes,
we do.
And of course, we got to seriously.
Right. We
got to put that
East
out
Amps Digital. We have East Amps Instagram page now, which
I like the logo change.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
East Amplification by Jeff Bober.
That's true. That's true. Because I can and nobody else did. So, that was my reason for it. But yeah, my wonderful guy Brandon took care of getting the Instagram page up, and thank you, Brandon.
We're reposting everything.
Cool.
Yes.
Cool. And that's how the social media rolls.
Yes. Now, the one thing that we will kind of ask you to do to share the love is we have an Amazon banner.
We do.
Yeah. And guess what's coming up?
It's getting near the holidays.
That's right.
Getting near the holidays.
Pretty soon, John Madden's going to have his turducken. And then there's going to be crazy people shopping.
Is John Madden still alive?
I don't know. I think he is.
Yeah.
But he doesn't
do
any more.
He retired from football, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's still eating the turduckens.
I don't know. He's a big man.
But I'm sure you can order one from somewhere. And if you do, order it through the Amazon banner.
That's what we're asking you.
Right.
You click on that banner, you go through, you buy something, we get our
buy something, they send us a turkey leg.
We get our beaks wet. I can't speak. We get our beaks wet, and you get your stuff. You don't pay any extra.
That's true.
You pay nothing extra.
That's true. I don't know how that works, but it's
I don't
cool.
know either.
That's
and then a drone comes by, drops it, and leaves.
I'm not asking any questions.
Yeah. So you had something here. You got a little something.
I do. There was one more thing I wanted to go to, and then I forgot. Oh, please, 5-star ratings.
Oh,
on
we can't ask enough of that. I'm sorry,
iTunes.
I forgot that. We need like a chart.
Oh,
and speaking of charts, guy who writes more charts than anybody,
and they're cool too.
And where's
you can actually follow
he's from up north. His name is
Jason Saditas,
and he gives us
Quick Lick.
That's right.
There you go.
We have to cover all that stuff because, quite honestly, we would forget.
And I mean, and I said this before. I love his new format. Where it's actually the lick is in context, and it's like, oh, that's how you use that awesome set of notes.
Yeah.
That is cool.
He's got the music in the background. He's giving you the full Monty.
The full Monty. That's
and he's got a nice little drop now. It looks like he's in a dark thing, right? Any behind it?
I don't know.
Why am I not remembering this? I think he's got like a black panel behind him. The amp's there, and he's using the new Godin.
Godin, that's
yes,
right.
Godin guitars.
Right. Godin.
Yes, from Canada. Very well-priced guitars, and they play amazing.
Yes.
They sound great, man.
He really loves them.
Yeah, yeah. So he's real hot on it. He said he can't even believe that he hadn't picked them up after all these years, and he lives in Canada.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, but you know,
there's stuff in your own backyard you never know about, or never pay any attention to,
Sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, speaking of guitars, I was reading something interesting the other day, and I never knew this. I don't know if you know this, and I'm sure some of our listeners don't know this.
Well, I killed off Chris Poland. Why not? I may know it.
Hey, look, it only goes up from there.
I may know it, but I may know it wrong.
But the beautiful Gibson J200 guitars, they're the big body,
their benchmark jumbo guitar.
Yeah, I mean, I've always loved them. They're gorgeous
with the mustache bridge.
Yes, with the mustache bridge. Do you know anything about that mustache bridge from like 1961 to 68?
No.
No?
No, sir.
It contained within the stash an ABR1 bridge.
What?
The same thing you find on a Les Paul, SG,
Oh, it does?
Yeah, and I had no idea. And it's
wow.
They went and put this chunk of adjustable metal in there from like 61 to 68. I think 61 had metal saddles. 62, I think I read, went to nylon saddles or plastic or something like that to give it just a little less metallic thing.
And then they realized they went back to like a bone material at that point, I guess, afterwards.
When they took the ABR1 out.
That's pretty crazy.
But yeah, a lot of people there, the article was kind of about people on the fence about taking out what didn't belong there and putting back something that makes more sense for a beautiful J200 sound, because these guitars didn't sound like a traditional J200,
not with all that metal in the bridge.
Yeah. The sound was a little weaker, a little more metallic, probably a little more note definition, just because it wasn't so large and round.
Yeah.
But the argument was that maybe you want to, if you want a traditional J200 sound, you would go back and put something natural in there.
Yeah, but that would be a wide slot, man. You'd have to probably take that bridge off and put it, and a traditional one in there or something.
Yeah, and and maybe there's ways to
fill that gap,
build it up with wood. There's probably a bunch of different luthiers that have their own way of doing that.
Just a bunch of sawdust and epoxy.
Yeah, I don't know if I do that on a J200, but cutting a beautiful piece of good wood or something,
piece of ebony, throw it in there.
Right, to start from there, and whatever it takes. But the argument was, if you have one of these guitars, you may not want to do that
because it's very rare.
Well, not only is it very rare, but those guitars are the guitars that were used to cut Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You and Black Mountainside by Zeppelin, Here Comes the Sun and While My Guitar Gently Weeps, and Pinball Wizard.
Wow.
You take that bridge out of that guitar, you no longer have that sound.
That jingly.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I was so amazed reading this. It's like, who knew? I mean, everybody go, oh, J200 is beautiful, but a normal J200 will not get you there. I just thought it was so amazing.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it was eye opening for me. It was like, okay, it was a bad idea that had some really cool results.
Yeah, that is cool.
So, if you got one of those, don't mess with it. We have a 4-string guitarist with us today.
Second in a row.
Second girl power in a row.
That's right.
That's
and
right.
And a 4-string player.
Yes,
Yeah, but,
yes,
you know,
yes.
yeah.
Girl power bass player.
Yes.
And yeah, you know, she's kind of into the heavy metal thing, but
Pretty
really,
funny.
But
We
really
did
digs a funk thing too.
Pretty funny. We did our 100th episode with a female bass player, and we're doing our first into the century mark.
101st
with a female bass player.
1 and 1
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, you know, well,
It was almost like we planned that.
probably won't happen again, but you know,
Until 200.
hey, you know, you all heard it with us.
That's
So,
right.
You know, so yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, it's Girl Power Day. It's low end 4-string Girl Power Day, and we're going to take a quick break, and then we are going to be back with our guest of the week, Ms Anna Sentina.
Hi, this is Angeline Saris, and you're listening to Amps and Axes.
All right, and we are back with our guest of the week, as promised, Ms Anna Sentina. Anna, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you guys?
We're doing well, man. Thanks for taking the time to be on.
Yeah, of course, anytime.
Cool.
So here's the thing.
Okay, there's a thing.
Yes, because
Okay.
I monitor all the Amps and Axis stuff,
Okay.
and I saw Anna. You've done a ton of videos, a bunch of YouTube stuff from years ago where you were playing guitar and were you playing piano too?
Yeah. I actually did a piano one in August, another one because I worked with Live Nation to promote the tour that Kelly Clarkson was doing with Pentatonics, and I thought, you know, it would be different to do another piano video. It was my first instrument, so I've kind of been neglecting my other instruments since I picked up bass, but I'm getting back into it.
I actually did see the piano video, and I well, you know, let's come back to that. But I do have a question about your arrangement of that song.
Okay.
So I thought it was really interesting.
What I was
Go
going to
ahead.
say to finish up that part was I saw her out there, and then I saw her playing guitar, and then I saw her playing bass, and
multi-instrumentalist.
yeah, and then I saw that she got picked up by Carvin. Now we'll
Yeah.
touch all this as we go through.
Sure.
But then I was like, you know, she's playing all over the place, so I was like, we got to have her on.
Yeah.
And here we are.
And here we are.
That's my story. I don't have much.
That's what, hey, no, that's
It's just how I look. It works, though. This is the thing. If we're going to tell people, we are constantly trying to educate people, Anna, on that it's not just being in the next Van Halen as much as session guys and guys that do stuff like this, and even YouTube sensations.
Yeah.
right.
You know, Andy McKee owes his entire career to YouTube.
Oh, I know.
I mean,
Oh my
100%.
gosh.
That guy would still be stuck in Kansas if it wasn't for YouTube.
Yeah, that's so funny that you mentioned that because I saw him for the first time when he was on tour with Dream Theater. I think it was like 2011. And I was like, you know, I was reading the roster. It was just him and Dream Theater. So I'm like, who is this guy? Like, I've never heard of him before. And I was with my brother, and, you know, we were sitting there hanging out, and then this guy comes out with an acoustic guitar, and we're like, what is going on right now? Are we at a Dream Theater show? And I mean, he said like 3 words. He was like, hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. I'm going to play a song for you guys. And I'm like, you know, we're like, okay, well, this should be interesting. And he starts playing like, oh my, like I remember my mind being blown so hard at this show. And my brother and I were like, where did this guy come from? And then, so after the show, I think like the next day we were like, hey, you know, what was that one guy's name again that opened up for Dream Theater? And so we're looking on YouTube and we find him with, you know, videos with millions of views. And we're like, oh my gosh, how have we never heard of this guy before? So it's like crazy how so many people owe their music careers to YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the now place to get discovered. You know,
Yeah, there's a couple singers out there that are with bands Boston and Journey that got discovered through YouTube. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, there's another couple that owe their whole career to YouTube, and
Yeah.
so YouTube doesn't work all the time. I'll just say that, but yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic venue for talent that wouldn't normally get seen. You
Oh,
know?
yeah.
So we'll leave it at that, because this is Anna's show, and
Yeah.
it's about her and her YouTube and everything else. But
Exactly.
I'm going to do what I always do, and I'm going to take you in the Wayback Machine and figure out where Anna came from, like where you were born and raised, and how you got into the field of music. So give us a little history, man. Come on.
Okay. Well, I was born in Tenerife, Spain, and lived there for a while. My mom is Venezuelan and Spanish, and my dad's Italian. So I was born there and moved back and forth between Tenerife and Venezuela for a couple years, and then moved to the U.S. when I was about 5 years old. And I, just normal kid, whatever. My parents weren't musical or anything like that, but my mom, she always wanted to get me and my brother into stuff that she never did. So that's why we started music in the first place. So we started taking piano lessons at 8, and my brother, he was like okay with it, but I really, really, really loved them. And he always wanted to get into like electric guitar and stuff like that. So eventually we took that step, but we started with classical piano training, and after a while we switched over to School of Rock, because at that time our music school, it was just a normal after school music school type of thing, and it was kind of going out of business. Like, not a lot of people wanted to take piano lessons anymore, I guess. But we started going to School of Rock when I was 12 years old, because my mom heard about it on the radio, and it was brand new. It was in Vista, California, which is in San Diego County.
Okay.
And the new manager was talking about, oh, we're making a School of Rock, which isn't just a normal music school. It's a school where kids learn how to not only play by themselves, but with other people, like being in a band and playing live shows. And my mom was like, whoa, that's awesome. So we went and checked it out. I think we were the first 2 students out of like 5 that made it there that one day. And we jammed out with the music director and the manager. He was a really good drummer, and instantaneously we fell in love. We were like, we are going to do this. We want to do this. So
now, were you just playing piano at that time, or had you moved to bass or guitar?
At that time, at my first music school, I started taking guitar lessons, but the guitar teacher wasn't that great. And he was kind of mean. So we were like really like willing to go to another school. So we were like just getting into it, but School of Rock, that's definitely where I learned like all my guitar basics pretty much.
Wow.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen lots of School of Rock kids perform.
Yes.
Because sometimes when we do the Christmas benefit shows, that the performing band from School of Rock, one of the School of Rocks will come out here, and it's a lot of times we'll do all Beatle themes, so they'll come out and do an all Beatles set and everything. And some of those kids are just so good, man. I have a very good friend in Annapolis. I've got a few friends that teach at School of Rock, and the kids really like it. The instructors really like it, and it puts a whole different spin on learning music, because it is more than sitting down with this one instructor that makes you learn all the songs in the Mel Bay book, and it's like nobody wants to do that. These kids are learning rock songs, they're learning classic rock songs, they're playing together with each other, and it's just awesome.
Now, did it come from the movie?
I think the concept actually, I think the name and probably the concept came from the movie.
Because I've seen the movie about 50 times.
Right.
I have kids, so that's why.
I love that movie.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, the concept did come from the movie right after it. I mean, School of Rock used to be owned by Paul Green a while ago when I was in it. not anymore, but he was kind of the one that started the whole entire thing. And of course it's still developed, even though he's not involved anymore, but yeah.
And it's nationwide now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of franchises I've seen. So, well, that's cool. So, you and your brother went there?
Yeah, we both went there. That was the first, I think there was only one school in San Diego when I started going there. That was like 8 years ago. So there was only one school that was downtown, and we lived in North County, so that was a little far for us. That was like an hour south. So when we heard that, there was one opening in Vista, which was like 15 minutes away, we were like, heck yeah, we'll do it.
That's cool.
So did that eventually take you somehow into a performing band? Did that like morph into anything? You went out and played places and entertained people? And what was your next musical step?
Yeah, I mean, just being in School of Rock alone, there were auditions for the house band, which is, we did our normal, like every 3-month gig. And that was all the students. They did that. They were all each in a show. But when you were in the house band, you were performing, like, I think we performed twice a week, every single week. And we would have auditions maybe every 6 months. And I loved it so much that I always auditioned. I was always in it. And we were always performing. So I got so used to it at that point that, I never wanted to stop. So at 16, I was getting kind of like old, I guess. I don't know. It was like growing really fast, but they were starting to have a lot of really small kids. And at that time I was in high school, and I was like, okay, maybe it's time for me to move on. So I quit School of Rock. I still kept in touch with my teachers though. And
which for the most part are probably really good musicians, like all of
yes.
them. Yeah.
I think honestly the one factor that School of Rock has that not a lot of other schools have is that, first and foremost, all the instructors are amazing at their instrument, like legitimately amazing at their instrument. And second of all, they love what they do. I've met all my teachers from School of Rock and from when I went to Musicians Institute. Like, I've never met so many teachers that genuinely love their job. You know what I mean?
Sure. I mean, it's music. How could you not love it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you went to MIT too?
MI, yeah.
Musicians Institute, yeah.
I'm sorry, MI. I call it MIT, but because it's all GIT, BIT, SIT, DIT. They got it all, but under MI.
MI,
Sorry.
right.
Yes, because MIT means that you're building the next thing that's going to Mars.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think the MIT guys would take offense. Not that they should, but they would.
Look at all those long-haired dudes graduating from MIT.
No. No.
They must have one hell of a music program over there.
Right. So you quit the School of Rock. Did you at what? Well, I guess you were still in high school. So out of high school, I guess MI was the next move for you musically.
Yeah, well, the first thing I did with MI was Summer Shot, which I did that summer of 2011 when I was 16. And that was where I first learned how to kind of like incorporate everything I'd learned at School of Rock into a real life setting. So because before that, I was in the School of Rock All-Stars, which is we tour for a couple weeks during summer, like all over the U.S. And one of our shows was at MI. So I went to the school and I was like, wow, this place is so awesome. Like, I want to come here at some point. So I did Summer Shot at MI, and I did the bass performance program. So, we got bands together, and also we took private lessons, and that's where I met my bass mentor now. We do stuff all the time, and I talked about him actually in one of my YouTube videos for Teacher Appreciation Week, Maurice Verloop. And he's like a huge inspiration for me. We're always together, and he's also one of my really good friends. So I met him there, and then after high school, I actually went to a regular university for a couple of years and studied biology. Oh. And then I moved to LA last year, and I was like, well, I want to go to MI. I want to keep learning, and I want to keep doing stuff, and I love MI. So I hit Maurice up, and I'm like, how do I enroll and stuff as a legit student? And so I did that, and yeah.
And there you were.
Wow. Yeah, and here I am
now. Are you still at MI?
I do. I mean, I'm not in a program right now, but I do go there all the time, and I'm probably going to do another program. Last year I did bass and DJing, actually.
DJing?
DJ?
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that was a curriculum there.
Like record or CDs, well, whatever they use now.
Right.
They have scratch pads that manipulate MP3s, but
right.
But that kind of DJing, right?
Yeah. Oh. Last year when I went, it wasn't a full-on program yet, but my DJ teacher, Charlie Sputnik, he is developing the program now, and it should be up and running by spring.
Wow.
Interesting.
I guess they'll have the EDM program soon.
Absolutely.
Bring your laptop. And you can.
They should. Like, so many people are doing that.
It's huge. It's mega huge.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
What do you got? Well, I got a Mac. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Cool. That's what we all use.
Yeah. I got a Mac, and I got a preamp.
Right.
If you can supply a 50,000 watt PA system, I can play.
I got a Mac and a mic.
I can even run the lights
from a Mac. From a Mac. Man. That's great. I mean, when you were at MI, were you studying bass at that point, or were you was it a multi-instrumental thing, or what was your major?
No. I've only done bass at MI, but that would actually be really cool if I could go back and do guitar. Piano, I've been playing for so long, and I was like classically trained in it that it would just be like taking another. I don't know. It would just be like taking math again.
You could probably be a piano instructor.
Yeah, probably.
So
you got all your theory through piano, right?
Yeah. That's where I learned all the theory I know and how to read music and all of that. So it was a really good starting instrument. I still recommend for young kids, if they want to start on an instrument, I recommend piano first, because it's just way easier to learn how to read music and theory on a keyboard, in my opinion.
Really?
Well, it's all laid out.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. Maybe it's because it was my first instrument, but it's easier to see, as your first instrument when you're learning everything, as opposed to strings in my brain. But people are different.
That's an interesting thought, a way to look at learning. I guess it's the most tangible relation to the piece of paper.
Yeah, think about it. The A, right, or the C, whatever note you want, it's always going to arrive at the same place, just in that set of keys, higher or lower.
That is true.
Where on a guitar, each string is relevant to the other string, but the notes, you see what I'm doing. They laid it out so you can play it with one hand.
There's no like fifth and fourth relations and things like that. It's just a block, and then it's a block, and then it's a block, and then it's a block.
Exactly.
Yeah, I guess
this is just kind of like the map is there, and here you go. That makes sense.
That's a good way of putting it. It's a map.
Yeah.
Well, hey, thanks for that.
Here's 88 keys. Learn it.
I might have to go learn piano so I can know something. And I've learned all wrong all these years.
I know.
Wow.
I couldn't get the left hand. And it's so funny because I'm right-handed as a guitar player, but the left hand, I was like, it's got to play this rhythm, and the right hand does the melody, where it's the opposite, really, if you think about it, on the guitar. The right hand is keeping basically the rhythm, and the left hand is doing all the melody work. It's doing all the footwork. And to me, that's my difficult part, because I've tried it, and I'm like, oh, I can't make the left hand do all that independent stuff, and the right hand's like going. So
theoretically, it would be easier to play piano and guitar if you were a southpaw.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow, this is deep, man. This is deep.
I mean, that's me though. But
right.
What do I do?
So what was your natural progression from MI? I mean, did you meet people there that you went on to do things with, or what was your next thing that happened for you?
Well, I did meet a couple people, not necessarily through MI, but just being in the music world. Connections are super, super important if you want to make it in the music industry. So I try to go out and, go to shows and meet as many people as possible. But right now, my next step, the place that I'm leading to right now, is more original content, because on YouTube I post mostly covers, and I really love doing them and I won't ever stop, but I'm really, really into writing original music now, and I really want to get that out soon. So I'm working with a producer right now, Matt Hutchinson, and also with Kevin Martin from Candlebox. We're all working together on a song, on a single that should be out relatively soon, and I'm really excited to be working with them.
Nice.
Now, is there any vocals, and are you singing?
Yes, actually, I am, I've never sang, I used to sing in School of Rock, but I've never sang in one of my YouTube videos before, but I'll be singing on this song, and it should be really interesting.
Yeah, what's it like? What style?
Yeah.
Oh, it's rock. It's heavy metal rock music. That's my thing. That's what I relate the most to, I guess.
Well, am I right, a big Metallica fan?
Oh yeah, totally. They've been my favorite band since I was 10 years old.
Mm-hmm. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
I've played some Metallica in my day.
Right, I'm sure. I'm sure.
I've listened to Metallica since Kill 'Em All.
Okay.
Right, which was the first album.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the day there was a guy, and I'm considerably older than you, Anna. There was a guy, this was 1984.
Okay.
And there was this guy named Pat that had this album, and it was Kill 'Em All.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, man, you really got to hear this. And he put it on, and I was like, what is that? I've never heard that. I don't know what that is. Where did that come from? Where are these guys from? It was literally like somebody had changed the clock. I mean,
wow.
Because all the bands were new. Anthrax.
Yeah.
Megadeth was not on the scene at that time. They came out afterwards.
Okay.
Because they fired Dave before the first album.
Right.
Yeah.
And, but, Slayer, and they were just all new. And that stuff had not made it, because, see, we're on the East Coast. So that stuff had not made its way over because there was no internet.
Mm-hmm.
It was
right.
It was 1984.
Right.
So
you get it, you put it in the car, you drive it.
Yeah.
Cross country.
Yeah. There was a UPS truck.
UPS, right? Exactly.
That
was it.
FedEx wasn't even doing that well. So I heard it, and it was just like, this is the craziest thing. It almost literally the first time you hear it, you go, that's like punk rock.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's all we had to reference for something playing that fast. Some of that speed stuff that they were doing as punk rock music. But it was just too much. It was too precision. It was just too...
Right. It was punk, but with really good musicians.
And really good timing.
Right. And those guys toured incessantly. I mean, they played incessantly.
Well, they owned San Francisco.
Yeah, they were playing every day just about. You listen to some of their stories.
Oh, yeah. It was crazy.
And they hung over or not, they're not missing a gig, and
exactly. Well, back in the day, that's the way it was.
Yeah, and there were places to play, and that's how you built your reputation. You just went out, you freaking played every night.
Yeah. Well, AaA, to get on that Metallica story, I'm sorry, Adam, but the way the story goes is Cliff was the guy who really ran the band, right?
Okay.
And Cliff said, I'll be in the band, we'll do this, but we got to leave LA. We got to go to San Francisco. And because all the Poisons, all the Motley Crues, all those bands that were doing that were just flooding LA to death. Mm-hmm. So they said, we got to go somewhere else. So they went north to San Francisco, and they were just killing it. And that's how they were able to separate themselves from that glam rock scene.
Mm-hmm.
back then.
Because it was different, and it really needed to be separate. You know?
Yeah, that was a smart move
Yeah,
on the guy
yeah.
that's no longer alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, back to Anna. So you're a big Metallica fan.
Totally. I mean, not just Metallica, but just that genre in general. It's definitely my favorite. I'm like a huge metalhead, which, if you see my last couple YouTube videos, is not very prominent, but I try to be as open-minded as possible, and I do really love other genres too. Like, I love funk. I've been listening to that a lot lately, and you know, I listen to electronic music and soul music and pop music too, so I just try to have like a wide variety of what to listen to all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Because a lot of younger people, they kind of pigeonhole themselves a lot of times with one style.
Yeah, and even if you don't play more than one style, I really do think listening to a wide variety of music affects the way you play within that style. You know, and at some point, you know, you could be the person that is performing differently within that style because you've got other influences. So, like, you know, you take some world influences or something, and you know, I mean, I don't know what would happen if you took world music and just absorbed so much of it, and you play metal. It's like, what? How does that eventually regurgitate out of you back into the metal? Like, what
I used to do a
ton
of blues licks and all that metal I used to play.
Oh yeah,
yeah, because I was a big blues guy and I loved it. You know, I'm a horrible blues player, but I love blues music.
An awesome metal blues player.
So I used to speed up all the blues licks, and everybody was like, "That sounds weird."
Thank you.
And I was like,
just go, thank you.
It's kind of cool, you know. And I would just. It was horrible, but I mixed up stuff, but it came across that it had that blues overtone because I was always
because a lot of that stuff was probably major, and you're throwing minor stuff in there, and
and of course the well, I don't know. I'd have to ask Anna because I don't know any of the stuff, but I know that like there's certain scales that are used in the metal world,
right?
You know, and I was nowhere near that.
Yeah.
For the modes, I guess it would be a mode, yeah. So and the scales would reflect off of that mode.
I think it really influences your writing too, you know, because maybe you may be writing a metal song, but you could have influences outside of metal that you hear just, you know, even blues, funk, whatever. You can totally incorporate that to metal, just spruce it up a little bit.
Look at Suicidal Tendencies. That's really just funk.
Oh, I love them. They're so awesome. I met the bass player at one of Roland's events in May. They were having like a VIP event, and he is one of the most humble people I've ever met in my life.
Well, he plays for Metallica, right?
The bass player for Suicidal Tendencies?
The one that the original bass player for Suicidal.
Yeah, the original. No, I didn't meet Robert.
Oh, okay.
I met Mikey. Yeah.
Robert Trujillo is what?
Trujillo, yeah.
Trujillo.
And we interviewed Rocky George from Fishbone, who was the original guitar player for Suicidal.
Mm-hmm. He was a trip.
Oh.
And he
talk about funk, man. Talk about a right wrist
and the world's largest afro.
I know. He put the cans on and they disappeared.
That we were like, they're gone.
It was hilarious.
And the nicest guy ever.
Totally the nicest guy.
Yeah. I think he would like go out to dinner with us if we would have invited him.
If we all had enough time, and if we had any energy left after that day, we'd have gone out to dinner or something.
Yeah, I'm sure he would. Those guys are so nice.
Yeah,
it's always so refreshing to meet really, really nice and humble people in the music industry or in the entertainment business in general.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's changed over the years. I think back when the bands were so big that you couldn't get near them. You know, when Whitesnake was like, you know, his biggest thing, and Iron Maiden, all those bands. I think the arrogance was a little bit different back then amongst the musicians. But I think with the demise of all the record companies, I think some of these guys have been humbled when they have to go out 2 weeks and they carry their amp in a bag and, you know, and they're their own roadie basically, you know, for 2 weeks, and then they come back and then they go out.
We've met plenty.
We have met tons of them, and everybody's been very cool.
Yeah.
And very nice.
I mean, there's no need to be a dick, man. We're all just, you know, we all just want to get along, you know?
Exactly.
And they're just people, you know?
Yeah.
And the one thing that, strenuous touring and all that does to you is all you want is like the normal creature comforts in life. You just want to be treated like a person.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
and if you treat them like that, they're just respectful for it.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
So
Right.
I'm just still trying to get over how this soft voice on the other end is going to be playing metal.
We'll see.
Speaking of playing, didn't you just do the Viper Room?
Yes, and it was so fun. I'm so glad I did it.
Nice.
Yeah, the booking agent Brent, also really nice guy. I met him. I was doing a gig with my friend Butterscotch, who is amazing rapper, singer, super talented girl, and she needed a bass player. So I'm like, yeah, I'm down. And we did that in August, super fun. And then like 2 weeks before the show, Brent, actually before that, he was like, would you be interested in doing like a rock type show? And I'm like, yeah, of course I would be interested. I didn't hear from him for a while, and then like 2 weeks before the show, he was like, hey, you're good to go for the Viper Room on October 13th. And I'm like, what? I don't even have a band. And at first I was like freaking out, but then I talked to my friend Brian, who's a saxophone player. Goes by Brian's Thing on YouTube. Super talented dude. And I reconnected with one of my old friends that I met at Summer Shot. We were both 16. And I hadn't talked to him in forever, but I knew he was in the area. And we occasionally like Facebooked each other. So I hit him up and I'm like, would you be down to play drums for a set I'm doing in like a week and a half? And he's like, yeah, of course. So we all get together and it's just the three of us. And at first I was thinking, maybe we need a guitar player. But we go through practice and it ends up being like really fun and really awesome. And after a while I was like, I think it would be more special if we ended up not having a guitar player, if it was just the three of us, just bass, saxophone, and drums, because I haven't personally like seen that in a while. So we were pretty stoked on it. And obviously we ended up doing the show and all of us had a great time and the outcome was really good. And even for a Tuesday night, I think we ended up playing at like 11:15 or something. It was just really awesome. It was awesome.
Really cool.
That is cool. And that's a good time to go on. Because everybody's good and drunk, but they're still there.
For the most part.
For the most part, they're still there.
Yeah.
And that's pretty neat. And having that three-piece like that's really cool.
Yeah, that's really unique.
Yeah, I've actually, in all the bands I've ever been in, I've never played in a three-piece till now.
And that's that's a lot of weight on everybody's shoulders,
Yeah, you can't screw up.
No, can't hide behind anything.
No, you can't.
What do you hide?
That's true.
There's bass, drums, and sax. What do you hide behind?
Yeah, it isn't like the other guitar player.
Right.
Any other stringed instrument's going to take over.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can afford to mess up once in a while if you're like a bass player or second guitar player or whatever. But if it's just three people and only one of them has strings, you're like, okay, yeah. I can't
and they all make very unique sounds.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's not like mistaking one for the other. Was that the bass or the guitar that just screwed up? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Well, there's only one here. That's hilarious.
Yeah, man, that's cool stuff, though.
Yeah, and this is again an idea of what professional musicians can do. Hey, you got a gig in 2 weeks. I don't have a band. Oh, that's not a problem, And you put these professional quality musicians together, and you rehearse a few times, and you go out there and you just kill.
And guess what they said?
Oh, what they said?
They said yes.
They said yes. We're all about saying yes to opportunities all the time.
Yeah, if you go back and listen to our shows, Anna, you'll hear that every guy that is like a session guy, like Pete Thorne or Joel Hoekstra or anybody that's out there doing those little tours, they just go, yeah, sure, no problem.
And then figure out what they just bit off.
Yeah. Do you, can you play an 8-string this? And they go, yeah.
Sure. And that's how these people get to where they are.
Oh, yeah.
So keep saying yes.
Yeah.
Is what we're saying.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm all for that. I've heard so many stories where people are like, can you hop on a plane and audition for this guy tomorrow and, learn like 5 songs tonight? And they're like, yeah, I guess. And they end up getting the gig for like a huge artist like I don't know, like Prince or whatever, and you're just like, you just go on a limb and you say yes instead of maybe next time.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's got to be a pretty good reason to say maybe next time. I mean, maybe you do have a pretty good reason, but you can't make a history of saying no, not right now.
Exactly.
And
what I'll do is I'll refer to last week's show. We had Angeline Saris from Zepparella.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So we interviewed her last week, and she got a phone call one day from Narda, the drummer that she plays with on his solo career. And he goes, hey, Carlos Santana's going to be here in 20 minutes. Can you come by? And she was like, sure thing. I got to take a shower and I'll be there.
Right. Yes, please.
And she got to record, right? Wasn't it a recording session?
Yeah. That might have been outside of Santana, and Santana might have sat in. But he said, you got to learn these 5 or 6 songs.
That's right, yes.
And by the way, Santana's stopping by. But those 5 or 6 songs wound up turning into the album that they released.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
And she had no idea that they were actually going to start to record an album that day.
And they did.
Yeah,
I should listen to our own podcast.
What fun is that? What fun is that?
I only produce it.
Then you'd actually know what goes on.
I only produce the show.
Right. That's all you got to worry about.
That's killing me.
What was I going to say? You're a Carvin player, right? How did that come about?
That's where I was going.
Oh, okay.
That was good. See, we think alike.
It's that mental thing.
Well, like most things have occurred lately, the Carvin guys, Manny and Jeff Kiesel, they saw a couple of my videos on YouTube, and they invited me over to check out the factory in San Diego. And I was like, well, yeah, of course. So I go down, and they take me throughout the entire place. It's gigantic, and they have guitars everywhere. They show me how the entire process of making the guitars and the basses, and literally every single thing. Like, I know how to do it because I've been there so many times now. And
I could work there.
And so I learned everything. And towards the end, they were like, Jeff was like, I want you to pick out and borrow 2 basses, and you let me know what you think. And if you like them, let's work together. If not, that's fine. Just let me know. And I'm like, okay. I had tried them at they have like a little room, a little booth area where you can try stuff out before you, before you take it home or borrow it or whatever. And I tried both of them out, and I already knew the answer in my head. I was like, give me a paper, I'll sign it now. But so I took it home anyway, and I played them for 2 weeks, I think, before I contacted Manny again. And I messaged him, and I'm like, hey, I've been thinking a lot and playing these instruments a lot, and I really, really love them. And I want to sign a deal with you guys. I want to be one of your artists. So he was like, yay, I'm so happy. And they are like some of the sweetest guys I've ever met. And that was almost a year ago. That was on November 3rd. Because, I remember this because I just went down there to pick up something very special that I'm doing a video for in a couple days. And I told him, I'm like, hey, hasn't it already been a year that we signed our contract? And they were like, yeah, I think so. And then Manny, he goes and checks, and he texts me, and I was at the studio at the time, and he texts me, and he's like, actually, our anniversary, our 1-year anniversary is on November 3rd, so happy early anniversary. I'm like, oh.
Now,
that's Manny Kiesel, right?
No, that's Manny Horta. He's the
who's the Kiesel?
Jeff, right?
Oh, Jeff Kiesel?
Isn't that Jeff?
Yeah, Jeff Kiesel.
Yeah. Now, once again, because we've had Greg Howe on here, but I told you that I had a Carvin for 17 years. It was a DC 127.
Yeah.
Now, back then, the options were not 5-piece necks. They were just 1-piece necks. Mm-hmm. You could change up the wood. It could be mahogany, maple, whatever. Now they give you crazy options. I mean, you can have, I think they have 8 pieces for the basses on some of the wider necks, and they go crazy. But they have the carbon fiber rods that run alongside the truss rod for extra stability. Yeah. The weird thing is when you get it, you go, there's got to be something wrong because it just plays too easy. It's like effortlessly to play their instruments. That's their whole thing that they've really developed that over the years. On the guitar side, my only complaint was over the years was, hey, you guys run these proprietary pickups. It's kind of hard to put your own version in there if you choose to. I ended up just keeping the stock ones because I was like, well, everything kind of sounds like these, so I may as well just keep these. So that's how I ran.
Have you tried the Kiesel pickups yet?
No, I haven't. I heard they're amazing.
Yeah, you gotta try them. I mean, one of the basses I have, I just got the Kiesel pickups, but and also picked up a brand new guitar too, and it also has the Kiesel pickups, and one of my basses has the carbon pickups, and I love all of them, but the Kiesel pickups, Jeff asked a bunch of people to go try, and a bunch of credible people, obviously, to go try and play them and tell him genuinely what they think and how they feel or whatever. And so he took everybody's opinions and made the Kiesel pickups, and I think they're amazing.
Cool.
They're doing a lot. I mean, Greg had told us that they were going to change the name from Carvin to Kiesel Guitars, and Carvin was going to be the pro audio side.
Right, and I think that's great. That's a nod to the founder.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. It's funny if you talk to some store owners, some music store owners. I love it when people, they just make a judgment. Like they haven't touched one. And if they have it, it could have been 30 years old or something, but they dismiss it out because the local music stores, they don't like Carvins because when they come in, they don't hold their value, right? Well, it's funny because you're getting a guitar that's equivalent, top and all the stuff, all the amenities, and you can really customize them out. That if you had that made by one of the big guys, right? We won't say their names, but one of the big guys, you'd be in $3,000-$4,000 land.
Yeah.
And you can do that at Carvin for like $1,500, right? And it's completely made in the USA,
right.
And you're getting
it's a direct sale,
and you're getting crazy option out.
Yeah.
The big ones won't do that kind of stuff for you, and you're getting a direct sale. So when it comes into one of these local music stores, because it was a direct sale and the guitar only had a $1,500 price tag, of course they can't really turn anything on the guitar.
Yeah.
So you can pick them up used pretty good too. But I just love how some of these guys are like, well, they have no resale value. I'm like, they're incredible instruments. Who cares if they don't have a resale?
How about how they play or how they sound?
Yeah,
does that figure in at all in your equation?
Yeah, I was like, have you ever played one? I'm like, it's ridiculous how these guitars play.
Honestly, used, it's probably the best value you can get, and they should be happy to get them because they should be able to flip them pretty quickly because it's a great value.
The whole mindset is, and we have a local guy, but I'm not saying it either, that the price makes people feel that it's not of value.
Well,
that it doesn't have the quality, quote unquote.
No, that's
and those things are built amazing.
Yeah.
Because how can you sell? Here's the thing: if I make a product and I'm going to sell it to you, Jeff, and you go, "Hey, I want to buy that," but sight unseen, it doesn't even exist at this point, and all you've seen is a picture and maybe some videos, and I'm going to send it to you. I should make it perfect. Because if you get it and you go, dude, this is not it, I'm eating it, and then we don't make money.
Right.
And that's how they've done it. And I'm going, so don't dismiss them because they're low price. These things are really well-made instruments.
Yeah, they just figured out how to do a really good job, really cost-effectively.
Their QC is just crazy.
Yeah.
And it's because they're not paying that overhead or that middle guy.
Right. Or 3 or 4 middle guys.
Exactly.
That's true. Yeah. They do spend a lot of time on every single individual instrument that comes in. I'm not even exaggerating, because I've witnessed it. They just spend so much time and take so much care of it that that you're going to get a quality instrument. It's not just, an instrument that, was built at a factory that's the same as every other instrument. It's a very, very quality instrument. Now that I think about it, I don't think I've ever read a bad review since they started the Kiesel line. I don't think I've read one.
Mm-hmm. No, and a lot of times you got to be careful because the internet is the internet, and a lot of these reviews are written by other companies. They just send one of their flunkies out and they say, just go out to this blog and write a bad thing about it. And they just come up with all kinds of stuff. Because I go,
that's just wrong.
But, that's what happens. I mean, and sadly enough, it goes on. But you would be, look, they can't make perfect instruments every time. There's going to be some that are going to be defective. But they have a return guarantee. Mm-hmm. And, they're willing to work with you. It's not like, no, it's yours now.
Sorry, you bought it and we sent it to you.
Yeah, not going to be able to work with you.
Yeah. No, so I'm glad I'm glad they came to you. I'm glad you're finding them to be, great instruments and, continuing to make good music with it,
Yeah, so. It's not too far from her house either, right?
It kind of is because I live in LA now, but it wouldn't be if I were still in San Diego.
I was going to say, they're right there.
It's not too far, though. It's a couple hours, and I go to San Diego all the time. So, I go to the factory all the time, even if it's just to say hi.
Hi.
There's one where she gets, they change the strings on your bass, right? One of the videos.
It depends. I like changing my strings a lot, usually like once a month. So, if I'm not going to San Diego or something, I'll do it myself. But if I'll be in the area, I do really love it when they set up my instruments. So if I change the strings and they're like thicker than the ones that they put on, my action will go up a little bit. And I love low action, so I'll go in and take it, and they seriously set up my instruments in like 15 minutes, which is so nice.
Wow.
And they feel so good after.
That's
I love getting my instruments set up down there.
And the action is literally, it's insane. That's the one thing that I've always admired about Carvins. It's like I've picked up, a bunch of them. I've known guys that have had them. And I go, the action on these guitars is just, it's redonkulous. Mm-hmm. It's like so, I picked that up from Paul Jackson, by the way, from Blackberry Smoke. But it's just amazing to me how easy they are to play.
I would probably hate it.
You would hate it. See, Jeff is from the old school.
I like just a little bit of fight, not too much.
And the old school guys, they like a little fight, and I have delicate hands. So, actually I had an operation, so a very light action for me is better. And those guitars are very comfortable that way.
They are.
Yeah, they are.
So,
but, if you wanted high action, I guess you could get that if that's what you wanted. I like low action.
I guess you
personally.
could pay them to do that if they had to.
Well, here's the nice thing now, because I know everything about Carvin, of course. They run a 10-inch, a 12-inch, and a 14-inch radius. Now, back in the day when I had mine, it was like a 15-inch radius, and that was it. You couldn't option out.
Really?
Now they give you the 10, the 12, and the 14. So for the Fender guys and the Les Paul guys, you're going to get close. And then if you want to really rip, you can get the 14, and then they just lay on there. And it's not as fatiguing to your hand as like Ibanez's 17-inch radius.
Wow, that's flat.
That is crazy flat.
Wow.
Now, if you get the Alan Holdsworth model that Carvin offers, that's a 20-inch radius.
Serious?
Yeah, and I think, don't quote me on this, but I think Greg Howells has the 20-inch radius.
Wow, I'm going to quote you on that.
Okay. That's pretty crazy flat, though.
That is.
That's like, why even worry about a radius?
Right. We just planed the plank a little bit and put it on. It's fine. That's great. So Anna, what's next on your calendar? What's the next musical move for you? What's next? What's cool next?
Well, I'm working on that original music, and hopefully that'll be out soon. I'm also doing a bunch of stuff with Emil and Daryl. They're two cello players. They were finalists on America's Got Talent, and they're awesome. So
is that what's the name of their what are they called?
They're Emil and Daryl.
Yeah, but did they do that video with Steve Vai where they did Back in Black?
No.
Or no, Highway to Hell? Who are those guys?
Huh.
You know what I'm talking about? The two cello players? Isn't it called two cellos or something?
Wait a minute. Yeah, that's two cellos. Emil and Daryl, they're rock cellos.
Interesting.
Yeah, they
rock cellos.
I got to show you this video.
I'm pretty sure I've seen it. I couldn't remember.
It's insane.
Yeah.
These guys do concerts to like 20,000 seat halls and sell it out. They got like a full band behind them.
So she's working with the rock
there you
cello
go.
guys.
There you go.
That's awesome.
It's if you turn
are
it to
you,
the
are you
side.
learning how to play cello now too?
No.
Well, she is, because if you take a cello and you turn it to the side,
I know.
Cello, you got a bass.
You got a bass. That's right.
And that's from School of Rock.
That's funny. That's funny. Well, you just connected all the dots there.
I
man.
like to
That's
bring it
funny.
full circle.
There you go.
That's what I do.
That was really, I like that. That was very intelligent of you.
Cello.
Well, I can't take credit. That was from the movie.
I know, but
You know?
it's funny how we were talking about School of Rock at the very beginning. And just,
Any new recorders? I know we're waiting for the new single. Have you got anything else out there that's recorded that's available on like iTunes or anything, or is everything
not
just
yet,
put out
not
there?
yet, but it will be soon.
Cool.
I'm doing a couple videos in a couple of days, and one of them is a video of a brand new bass that Carvin is putting out very soon. It's been like the most highly requested bass that they've ever gotten, so should be really interesting.
Nice.
So,
and you're doing a video for it. Very cool.
So just to put everybody up there, she's on Instagram. And how are you listed on there? Because it's like Anna what? Anna.
Well, it's Anapocalypse.
Anapocalypse.
That's I thought I had it right, but I didn't want to say it because I'm that would have been bad if I would have said it wrong. Now you got 80,000 followers.
Yeah.
80,000 followers. That's crazy. And so you will follow us, right? We'll follow you. Or we follow you. So if you follow us, that'd be awesome.
There you go.
We will have a link to everything on the webpage with the episode. And, of course, it'll stay there in
perpetuity.
That's right. And it's always free.
Right. And your YouTube, what's your YouTube channel?
Oh, YouTube, you just look up Anna Sentina. I'll be there.
Okay. You'll be there in person, live and in person?
Hi.
I'll be there watching.
So we'll make sure all those links are up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Very
cool.
cool.
Thanks,
Then you
guys.
can get 90,000
there you go.
followers.
There you go. Well, Anna, thank you so much for taking the time. It's been a pleasure. And, welcome to this wonderful world of music and much, much continued success
I'm sorry,
to you.
I have one more question.
Okay. I don't want to cut you off.
Is there going to be a name to this band that you're putting out, or is it just going to be you? Your name?
You know what? I don't know yet. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I tell you what. You let us know, and we'll let all of our listeners know.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
will. Thank you. I have to think about that because the 3-piece band that we just put together, we want to play more shows, and for the Viper Room, it was just Anna Sentina, and I don't know. That hasn't been on my mind lately, but I will definitely figure that out.
Well, you're going to have to figure out a name before you can tour it.
You have to come up with some, like 5-finger death punch. One of those, because it just fits you.
Oh, well, thank you.
No.
So what? And the metal project, is it 3-piece, 4-piece?
Yeah, I didn't even ask that.
Yeah, I forgot.
I mean, well, right now it's 3 of us.
3, okay.
But
Cool.
Yeah.
That's like a Raven back in the day. Those guys were they were 3-piece.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You would know. I wasn't a big metal guy.
Yeah.
All right, Anna. Well, thank you so much again.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, our pleasure. Hope you had a little bit of fun, and like I said, much continued success. And we'll keep an eye on you, man. And we'll let people know what's going on. And as soon as you come up with a name for that band, let us know.
Yes.
Oh, I will. Thank you so much, guys.
All right, Anna. Take care. Have a great rest of the day.
You too.
Take care. Bye. And there you have the story.
She's 20 years old.
I know.
Right?
Look how far she's come in 20 years.
20 years old.
And
that's
pretty much started out at School of Rock. First, a bad music teacher, and then to the cool world of School of Rock.
And youngest guest we've had.
Yeah.
How about that?
I think so.
Yeah. She's, you know what? She's going to be fine in her career. First off, that kid can play. I've heard her do some really cool songs on YouTube playing the bass, and I'm like, man.
Oh, I did forget to ask her about the arrangement of that Katy Perry song. I think it was a Katy Perry song.
Was it a Katy Perry? I don't know. Could have been. She does a lot of videos like that.
Whatever the video was that she was playing keyboards on. She plays keyboards really well. But it was an interesting. I thought there were some interesting chord inversions in the chorus and in the bridge, and I wanted to ask her about that, and I totally forgot.
Oh well.
Might have to call her back and ask her.
Yeah,
because I'm truly just interested in myself.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's a story. Say yes.
Yeah. Once again.
And I mean, how cool was that? Hey, you got a gig in the Viper Room in 2 weeks. And it's the damn Viper Room.
And there's no
seriously. Band. I don't have a band yet. So what? You got to play in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And bass, drums, and sax.
Yeah, that's a different protocol there.
I mean, I got to say, I mean, she's a girl, but she got balls.
Yeah.
I mean, to go into the Viper Room with a band that nobody's ever heard of and not put a rock band or a traditional rock band in there. It's like you're going to go see bass, drums, and saxophone in the Viper Room. It's
at 11:15 prime hour.
How freaking cool is that?
It's pretty cool.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And
good on you, girl.
When you watch her play, she's one of those ones that just always mystifies me. It's like Greg Granger, right? Mm-hmm. Is it Gary? Gary plays drums, Greg plays bass? Am I correct with that?
Greg is the drummer.
Okay, so Gary Granger.
Yes.
If you ever watch him play, it almost looks like he isn't playing.
Mm-hmm.
It is the strangest thing. Meanwhile, it is thunder coming out of that amp. And she's a lot like that. Her hand movements are so just minimal. Very efficient moves.
Yeah.
And then you watch Billy Sheehan, and it looks like he's literally trying to saw the thing in half. But that shows you the extremes.
He's having his way with it.
Yes. when we talk, that we have to talk to Billy because I just want to go. It literally looks like he's trying to beat that instrument into submission, and he does. Well, you see the opposite with Anna. It's very controlled, very precise.
This efficiency.
But man, just huge sound.
Yeah, totally.
And it's
totally.
like, man, I admire
Little
that.
girl, big sound. It's like, wow. She's going to go places, man. She's going to go places.
Yeah, like I said, I just don't know how that heavy metal thing with that that very soft-spoken
I think
girl.
that's going to be awesome.
I think it'll be.
That's going to be off the charts cool.
As long as it's not like The Great Cat. I'll have to show you some of those videos. If any of our listeners out there know who The Great Cat is, you are laughing right now.
I plead ignorance. I have no clue.
So until next time, my friend.
I'll still not have a clue.
I'm Mick Marcelino.
I'm Jeff Bober.
And we are always saying...
Onward.
Be sure and follow the show on Twitter @AmpsandAxes. Also, make sure you like the show on Facebook. For news, comments, and everything else, visit the webpage ampsandaxescast.com. Thanks for listening.